Another brick fan here with a look at a gift with purchase. This is a 12-in-1 rebuild into set. This is set 40411, was released in July 2020, has 240 pieces, no minifigures, and was a gift with purchase of over $85 when ordering from Lego Shop at Home or from the Lego store. This is an interesting giveaway in the sense that it is just a bunch of pieces with instructions to build a whole bunch of different items. As you can see, there's a few of them on the front. And here on the back are all 12 of them. To me, it kind of groups into 4 different categories. So you have food items, you have some animals, and then you have a few miscellaneous different pieces, like buildings and ships and things like that. The book is also very nicely done, having the instructions broken down with all of the builds cataloged here in the front. As you can see here, here's our edibles. There's one group right there. And then our scenery or buildings. So there's a castle and a duck float, a couple of different style of ships here. And then here's our animals that I was talking about. Flamingo, fish, seahorse, and a parrot. Let's take a look at each one of these individually, but I like the way they broke down the instructions. You cannot build all 12 of these at the same time because a lot of the pieces are reused in the different models. Let's go ahead and take a look at each of these builds individually. Each of these builds is pretty small, not super detailed, but I think they all look pretty good. This is a pineapple piece. I like how they use these plant pieces to represent the top of the pineapple, and then the brown against the yellow pieces to kind of look like the spines on the pineapple to kind of give it that texturing that you're used to. Obviously a few gaps in here. It's not perfectly round, but it does kind of slope down so it's wider at the base than it is at the top. And I think it's very easily recognizable as a pineapple. Keeping with the food theme, here is a slice of watermelon. And I really do like the way this turned out. You have the green here with a little white indicating the rind of the watermelon. Some of these 1x1 tiles here to represent the seeds. Then the slope here to give it a watermelon wedge type shape. And then they use some clip pieces here in the middle to keep that whole piece of the watermelon. You see a few more seeds inside. Overall, very recognizable as a watermelon slice. So I think it turned out very nicely. Keeping with our food theme, here are the cherries. So there's 2 cherries here on the bottom. They're on these clip pieces. And then there's a hinge piece between the stems. And a little slope piece here, slope plate to indicate a leaf. So nice little build of cherries here. The last of our edibles is this ice cream piece, one of my favorites out of the collection. Looks like somebody's taken a bite out of it, and that's done with one of these corner slope pieces, which I think is very appropriate for this. It's got the different colored candy sprinkles on it, the brown chocolate, and then a little bit of ice cream, the vanilla ice cream sticking out the bottom here, and then a nice little stick handle. The popsicle representing the popsicle stick. So a very nice representation of a chocolate bar, or one of those chocolate ice cream treats. Here is the sandcastle, which is one of the first of the kind of buildings or man-made things that I kind of grouped together. As you can see, it's done in this nice tan color, with a little darker brown here, and then some of these nougat colored cone pieces. Interesting how they use this very pale yellow as the hinges. Overall, I think it turned out pretty nice. It's got good slopes here, 2 different sizes to indicate some sandcastle sculpture. It can be positioned in lots of different ways, so it could be down on the ground like this. You can move it in. It actually looks good from both sides, I think. Nice entrance, and then some of these different 1x1s with a tooth here to add a little bit of texture to the model. And the green flag is a really nice touch. This one kind of fits into two categories since it's an animal, but it's also more, I think, designed as more of a ride, I would say. But regardless, this is a little duck here. You see slope pieces used for the wings, this nice orange bill on him. The use of these kind of satellite dish pieces with the black tiles here, the rounded black tiles for his eyes. Little tail here formed in the back. And the reason I say this looks more like an amusement park ride is because of this kind of red area here. It looks like a place you can sit a minifigure and they can ride around on this. So I think this more fits into the buildings or man-made type theme for the middle four models with this. Another in our man-made models category here. This is kind of like a sailboard or a windsurfing board to me. You've got the big sail with a handle that you can hold on to. The board is white on the bottom, green on the top. And then you can get some idea of like a wave here in the side with one of these slope pieces that actually has the stud on the side, or at least the receiver studs here on the side, so it can be put down on the side like this. You have the little light blue kind of wave indication. Both the sail and the board itself are on these ball joints, so it can be positioned in lots of different ways. So you could be sailing this way off or to all kinds of various angles. I think they did a really nice job in building this windsurfing board. Here is another sailboat, which is part of the collection. You see it has two different sails. They are again using this green flag piece here, and the sails are on jumper plates so they can be angled to different angles. Here's a nice black tooth piece here on the front. Some slopes on the side to give a little more body to the ship. Kind of slopes up in the back, so this would probably be the wheel deck here, and then a grill in the back for a little bit of texture. Other side's pretty much done the same way. I like how the sails can be angled just a little bit to give it a better look. So overall, I think this is a pretty nice little build of a sailboat. Next up we have the animals, and we'll start with the Flamingo. This is a really cleverly designed piece. I like how tall it is. They used an elephant trunk here in pink to form the neck. And then this is a unikitty tail done in this pink as well. And then the nice beak here, it's on a clip piece so that the head can turn side to side, and then the front of the head can be moved. This magenta color here on these quarter round plates to make for the wings of the Flamingo. Nice smooth look here with the curved. This is actually a 2x3 brick with a curve on the back, and then it's covered up with these smooth tiles here to smooth it out. A little bit of vegetation there on the bottom, and I think these holes do a good job in representing the eyes of the Flamingo. So overall, a pretty good piece done with these parts, and I like the recoloring of the elephant trunk for sure. And then I think there probably are some pink unikitty tails out there as it is. Here's our next animal. This is a fish. I think it turned out really well with this color scheme. I like this lime green color, and then the light blue, the dark blue contrast here, the tan for the fin, of course eyes on either side of the fish. I think the mouth looks well represented here. It's like a parrotfish maybe. Kind of a beak-like mouth. This little gap here I thought was strange at first, but now that I look at it, I think it looks pretty decent. Fish looks pretty good from lots of different angles. Lots of different colors going on here. You have the orange, white, and the darker green. A little red and yellow here. So a nice looking tropical fish. So another good little animal build from this 12-in-1 set. Here's another one of our animals, and this looks like a seahorse. I think this is very cleverly done, and as you can see, it uses a lot of the same pieces as our fish, with these lime green pieces, and then a lot of yellow. There's a seaweed piece here, and then once again we're using this tree piece or bush piece here for some more decoration. You can see the seahorse swimming this direction, so here's his head and his mouth is down here. They have kind of a long nose-like mouth. Then they kind of curl up, which is represented by this little slope piece here. And then this too wide cheese wedge. It may be hard to recognize this as a seahorse on your first glance, but once you figure out what it is, I think it looks pretty obvious that that's what they were going for. And I think they did a really good job with this. Always impressed by the way LEGO does these kind of micro scale figures. Keeping with our buildable animals, we now have the parrot. This is also very nicely done, I think. I like the choice of colors here. You have the nice blue color on his chest here, wings, some of this darker yellow and red, and the light green here on his head. His back is done in these brown slopes. And then his tail feathers are represented by this foliage piece or tree branch, which I think turned out pretty well. It's on a clip piece here, so it can be moved. And then he's also got some white down here to indicate his feet and some orange down there. He's of course standing on a perch here, and his little claws or his front feet are done with these brown clip pieces. Overall, a really nice effect for this bird. Very colorful, very tropical looking bird. Very nicely done in this small scale, and a good look for one of the builds out of this 12-in-1 set. Overall, I think this is a really good giveaway. This is a more creative type. A lot of the gift with purchases are sets, sometimes minifigures, poly bags, those kinds of things. This was a good little set. 240 pieces isn't too bad. I found that about the most models you can make is, say, 3 of them. Obviously, many of the models use a lot of the same parts. Looking on the back of the box, just real quickly, you can see all 12 models again. And like I said, I think there's 4 distinct themes. So there's some food, there's 4 food items. There's 4 kind of man-made items with a sandcastle, ship, the windsurfer board, and then this, what I think of as a duck ride, or maybe a float or something like that that people sit in. And then the rest of them are animals. We have a fish, seahorse, parrot, and then that really nice looking flamingo. So overall, I think a good gift with purchase, as I've said probably too many times at this point. And I really like the creativity that went into it, and I'm sure you can do some other things with the parts in this pack. And it would be interesting to see what some people will come up with. I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this set. I'm going to get going on my next video, and until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my content. I've left a few links to some other videos up here on the screen.